Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Thursday, August 15th, 2024. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with last night's AEW Dynamite broadcast live from the Chartway Arena in Norfolk, Virginia. In the main event, AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland defeated Wheeler Yuta by referee stoppage. Strickland continued the attack after the bell, leading Bryan Danielson to run in for the save. Strickland hit his house call finisher on Danielson to end the show.
Whoa, Strickland's back out here! House call! Danielson with his back turned! Speaking of breaking the code. And the champion is really setting the table. I mean, I said it, there are no lines sacred to Swerve Strickland. Look what he's doing now. Wow. August 25th. Will it be the end of an era? Will it be the end of Bryan Danielson's career? We will find out at Wembley Stadium in London, England.
AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, went over the Acclaim via disqualification thanks to interference from FTR. In a match to determine the number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet match at All In, Orange Cassidy emerged victorious over Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Darby Allin's scheduled match never happened as he was jumped by Jack Perry and dragged to the back where he slammed his head in a door and demanded a coffin match with Allen at All In. In other results, Hangman Adam Page beat Jay Lethal, and Mercedes Moné successfully defended the TBS Championship in the opener against Hikaru Shida. After the match, Britt Baker hit the ring to go after Moné, but Camille made the save.
Wait a minute. Here she comes, not Britt, through the sands. Well, let's stay corrected. The doctor's in the house. And Mercedes doesn't realize that her back is turned. Oh my God, Mercedes, turn around, CEO. Baker's putting the glove on. It's time for a little lockjaw. Oh, the kick to the midsection. Mercedes gets dropped down. Britt's looking for the lockjaw. Camille finally realizes what's going on. She's got that overhook. It's tough for Camille and Britt. That's the right thing Camille did to push the body of Britt off of Mercedes. Otherwise, that overhook is super tight that Britt had on. And now Britt with the kendo stick. Camille. Oh, easy, Camille. Whoa. Yeah, Camille thinking better of it when she saw that kendo stick coming her way. The match is official for All In London. Sunday, August 25th, Mercedes Moné, in 11 days' time, will defend her TBS Championship against Dr. Britt Baker, TNT.
In ratings news, Tuesday's NXT drew 617,000 viewers to USA Network, according to WrestleNomics. That's up from last week's audience of 543,000. However, the rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic was a .14, which is down from last week's demo rating of .16. Turning to Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling presented Night 16 of the G1 Climax tournament in Hamamatsu. Victorious in Block B matches were Yota Tsuji, Konosuke Takeshita, David Finlay, Hinare, and Oleg Boltin. Finlay has won the block with 12 points. Tsuji and Takeshita also move on to the playoffs. They'll face each other, with the winner moving on to face Finlay in the semifinals. And in some unfortunate news, Dennis Brent, longtime veteran of pro wrestling media, passed away on Sunday in Dallas at the age of 73, as was first made public Tuesday night by Jim Ross, his close friend and colleague of 40 years. Over the course of a 22-year career in the business, Brent had worked as a photographer and magazine editor for Fritz von Erich, Bill Watts, Jim Crockett, Ted Turner, and Vince McMahon, and was co-author with Ross and Steve Austin of Austin's 2003 autobiography, The Stone Cold Truth, which Brent largely wrote himself. Brent was an innovator in wrestling magazine and program publishing, being among the first in the business to introduce digital computer layout and design, applying the experience he gained in 10 years spent in the computer software business in the 1970s and early 80s. He started in the wrestling business in 1984, making programs for World Class Championship Wrestling, and later met Ross when he came to work for the UWF shortly before it was taken over by Jim Crockett Promotions. Brent was a fixture at ringside, taking photos for Crockett and WCW cards in the late 80s and early 90s, and also produced magazines for the company, including the original WCW magazine. Brent joined Ross in the WWF in 1994, working in the publications department where he was editor of the Raw magazine in the late 1990s. In the early 2000s, he came to work in the talent relations department alongside his wife, Lynn. He left the WWE in 2006 after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, beginning a lengthy battle with the disease. He was honored with the Jim Melby Award from the Cauliflower Alley Club in 2015. Once again, Dennis Brent has passed away at the age of 73. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.